So this live was inspired by a kickoff call that I had a couple weeks ago with a client. And her literal words were, I'm afraid to scale my business. And it's one thing to really be afraid to do something new if you don't have a proven concept or you don't know if people will buy, right? But this client, demand was there, revenue was good. She knew she was capable. She knew her business was capable, right? And she knew that there was so much more potential to serve more people. But she also knew what more meant for her, right? She knew that by serving more people, by doing more, by growing her business the way that she always envisioned, what she would have to sacrifice. And whether that was personally or in her business, right? So doing more and serving more meant taking away time from herself, from her business, from her life, from her child. So that's why she hired me. In case we haven't met yet, I am Ashley, your favorite systems officer, and I love keeping shit simple, right? I have the privilege of supporting solo and lean business owners in just really creating simple but efficient business systems that support their high ticket offers. Okay. So, a lot of you guys one thing that I've noticed is growth feels like a threat, right? Growth sounds like punishment. And so when you think about growing, when you think about scaling your business, sometimes you tend to just go back to what's comfortable instead of stepping out on what you know is possible, stepping out on that vision and that dream that you have for your business, right? You tend to throw band-aids on problems because again, it's comfortable. You do what you need to do to serve your clients and to get paid, but then you get stuck there, right? You start to feel forced to hire a team when you either can't afford it or have no intention to lead other people, right? But you feel like you have to hire a team to meet your goals, even though that was not in the plans at all, okay? If any of you guys can relate to that, if that feels like something that you're in that place, if that growth is feeling like a threat right now, I want you to drop a yes in the chat if you can relate, okay? But this led me to really want to showcase or tell you guys about one of my favorite clients. So meet Latesha. Latesha is the founder of Her Marketing Coach, and I consider Latesha a multi-passionate creative, right? Um, Her focus within her business is capacity driven marketing, right? So one thing about Letitia, she gonna be outside, right? She wants to do all of the things. She wants to do more without doing more, right? Letitia serves one-on-one clients. She does speaking. She does collabs, and then she has a nerve to start a dope subscription-based mail service. So she curates these custom mailers every single month. She writes the letter, she packages everything, she gathers everything together in house and does that as a whole separate business in addition to her serving of one on one clients, right? So, Letitia had a custom Airtable setup for her services and it worked well, right? It did what it needed to do at the time. But as her offers grew, as her capacity grew, she began to outgrow that custom setup, right? And again, she is a capacity driven marketing strategist, right? So her whole thing is I want to make sure that I am able to show up and serve in a way that's comfortable for me, that I feel confident in doing so. But also, again, without doing a whole bunch of other stuff, without having to do more. Because Letitia preaches when we as service providers get burned out from doing all of the things, we go ghost in our marketing, right? So it was my job to make sure that Letitia can continue to show up and serve and do all of the things that she was most excited about without that stress and that anxiety. Okay. So one of Letitia's goals was to build scalable systems, right? I know scale is a dirty word for some people, but Letitia wanted to have systems that grew with her and with her offers, okay? So with this new mail service, again, she was doing everything in house. Okay, she signed up for Kajabi, and she's like, okay, I know I can do memberships that way. I kind of got a spreadsheet over here that I'm doing mail mergers through in Canva, and then the things just aren't doing what they need to do, right? But I need to be able to, fulfill logistics, know what inventory I have or I don't have, easily produce my mailers each month. And Latesha actually had her mom helping her with this each month, right? So what this turned into was a full custom Airtable hub that allowed Latesha to build her mailers easily, right? So she was able to, each month sit down and write out her letter, her custom letter for her people, right? She was able to say, hey, this is what goes inside the mailer, create her unique rituals, her unique date ideas, her unique recipes, right? She was able to do that all in one single place. And then she was also able to use an extension. So that's what this is down here for her mail merge. So before she was using Canva, it was taking forever. Formatting was inconsistent. Now she can use this envelope like extension that I created to automatically pull in her member's name and email and or address, right? So now she can just print directly from Airtable. It's set up. She don't have to do anything. If a new member joins, all of that information is there and ready for her to leverage, right? She's able to see her member summaries at a glance. On this same interface, I have a space for active orders, right? So based off of, hey, has this shipped yet? What steps does her mom need to take to help gather the information? All of that is there within a single interface view, right? Once she clicks the button to say, hey, it's shipped, a custom email goes out just to that member to let them know, hey, keep a lookout, keep an eye on your inbox, right? But again, this allowed Latesha to, serve her multi-passionate creative self by starting an entirely new business, but allow her to again show up and pour into herself, into these mailer members without having to do a whole bunch of other stuff. She opens the interface, she custom curates the letter, all of the details, pushes a button to print off her envelopes, and she's done. Okay. Another goal of Latesha's was really having a central place that she could see all of the things. So whether it was leads or it was sales or it was clients, right? She's using Kajabi for her membership. She sells products in ThriveCart, and she decided to come on back over to Dubsado for one-to-one services. So she had so many different people coming in from different places, and it felt scattered or unclear. And so a lot of times what I've seen or I've noticed is that, if something requires manual work from you, or you can't just easily come out and click a button, you revert to what you're used to doing, right? You revert to doing things manually just so that you can send that invoice and you can get paid, right? So what I did for Latesha was, one, create public proposals to allow her to easily sell, right? Latesha, gets a lot of clients from Upwork, folks from LinkedIn, folks are in her DMs, folks find her on Google from her website. And I want to always make sure that every single lead has the same cohesive client experience, no matter how they find her, right? So by doing that, we have these public proposals so that, they don't have to fill out an application if she's already vetted them. If they've already hopped in her DMs on Instagram or on LinkedIn, or she's talked to them through Upwork, why have them complete an application and then send them something else, right? No, send them this public proposal link, let them go ahead and book, you go ahead and get paid, and they get onboarded, right? But whether they do that or they apply, directly, they find her off Google, they're going through the same exact client experience. As a company of one, I wanted to make sure that Latesha knew when to take action and only if action was needed. So I just went and took screenshots of her ClickUp. So inside of her ClickUp, she has a few different channels that I've set up, but one is to let her know that, hey, you just got a new lead, right? A new lead came in, here's all of their info, right? Hey, a person completed their proposal, but then maybe they had questions, maybe they stopped, maybe they got distracted. She gets a notification that says, hey, it's been an hour since Ashley completed her proposal. go send her a nudge. And this is exactly what you need to go send, right? So I'm not telling her, hey, something needs to happen. No, I'm telling her exactly what needs to happen because, again, as a solopreneur, she just wants to be able, she doesn't have to want to think about certain things, especially when she's in the moment of serving clients or hanging out with her son or, her family, right? No, hey, this is the very specific action that you need to go take, and this is what you need to send when you do that, right? We built out workflows in Dubsado to do a lot of that for her. So again, you send a proposal, maybe it's been a day, somebody hasn't completed that proposal yet, the follow-up sends out, right? I don't want her to have to think about that. If I complete my proposal in the middle of the night, I don't want Latesha to feel like she has to run to her computer to onboard her clients, right? All of those things are done for her. Latesha also wanted to make sure she had a repeatable system for these one-to-one services, right? So again, she got to a place with this custom Airtable setup. The setup was great. It worked well, but as her services evolved or as she narrowed her focus on those services, she outgrew those systems. So that required more work from her, right? So if you outgrow that custom setup, it's like, well, damn, now I have to go manually send this email to onboard this client, or I have to manually add this client to my client portal, right? Instead, this has allowed her to have a central client communication system inside of Kitchen. Once they onboard in or book and pay inside of Dubsado, she gets a notification that says, hey, you got a new client. This is the offer that they signed up for. Here's the link to their portal. Here's the link to their deliverables. Here's their ClickUp list. She doesn't have to go searching. She doesn't have to go hunting. She, again, gets everything that she needs in that moment to show up, serve her clients the way that she needs to show up and serve them. Okay. When that client completes that pre-work, she gets notified of that too, right? So again, this is all unique to her unique service. But I also wanted to make sure that she didn't think that, man, okay, this happened, this automation triggered, what happens next? They'll be sent a link to book their call via Dubsado, right? Like, I know my clients, and I know Latesha needed a simple way to be able to say, okay, cool, the automations are doing their thing, right? Um, I wanted her to have that confidence, again, as a company of one, as a solo and lean business owner, to be able to have the structure in place, but know that things are working for her, okay? And one of the other goals for Latesha was really being able to document her processes. So again, that she knew confidently what's happening, where it's happening, and how it's happening. This is another example. One thing that I think a lot of us tend to overlook as service providers is, man, I do the work. We have the project. We got 3 months in. We locked in. And then the project's over. Okay, bye. Right? So I wanted to help Latesha build up her repeat referrals, a repeat client and referrals process, right? So by doing so, by having a consistent client experience in place and automations that trigger when they need to trigger, she's able to welcome repeat clients, right? So on the 5th, she got a message that says, hey, Ashley's support is over. This is what you need to do in Kitchen. Go send this specific message, right? It lets her know exactly what's going to happen. It's going to send a link for them to continue on month to month. She doesn't have to guess. She doesn't, she ain't worried about none of that. She sends off that message and then I go renew. So yes, I am a client of Latesha's as well. But she sent off that message. I got everything that I needed. And then I was able to renew with her for additional support, right? Think about how much money you're missing out on because you have to stop and think about ways for your clients to continue to support you, right? And I get it, especially if you're project based. If, after you launch, you're like, look, I'm just done. I want to be done. I don't want to have to worry about it. But no, you have so much potential, especially like I like to believe once clients give me a little money, they'll give me a lot of money, right? Like I've built that trust already. So why wouldn't they want to continue working with me, right? But if I don't ask for the sale, how can I expect them to pay, right? We've built in SOPs inside of ClickUp so that again she knows what's going to happen. down to the level of, the links to the Zaps and the links to the Airtable views or the links to the Dubsado workflows, right? So that she can always know what's happening, where it's happening, how it's happening, and what action she may or may not need to take. Okay. Now, the plan for Latesha was to go from organized to operational. Okay. And I've said this before. I will never say my clients are in a mess or, that things are chaotic. No, they making money. They getting to the bag, right? They're showing up well, they're serving clients well, but the gap is in them serving themselves, right? And that's where I come in. We had 22 custom deliverables for Latesha's Glow Up, and it was done in 3 weeks, right? Operational is truly meaning, can my business run with or without me? Can my business run without me having to be the one to push the buttons or trigger the things, right? And so I didn't build organization for Latesha. Latesha knew exactly what she wanted to have happen. She had a clear structure of everything. I built the infrastructure, the ops ecosystem that allows her business to run without her being the one running it, right? It allows her to do more without her having to do more. And it's that, right? Like if you are nodding along, like, damn, Ashley's pushing buttons because I'm good at that, right? If you feel like, man, my biz it works, right? But it only works because I'm the one working it, right? If you feel like you have outgrown your systems or your services have outgrown your systems, that's not a bad thing, right? I think we all get to a phase in our businesses where, man, I can't do it all anymore. I can't do it the way I used to do it, right? If you're tired of these plug and play templates. Fun fact, the client that told me that she was scared to grow her business had brought a template that worked in the moment, right? And I'm not going to shit on templates. I sell templates. I think templates are good for a specific purpose when you need to do something yourself. But as she wanted to grow and as she wanted to scale, the template couldn't keep up, right? It wasn't plug and play because her business isn't plug and play. Her offers aren't plug and play, right? And so if this is you, if you are nodding along with this, you friend need a glow up. So today I am offering for the rest of this month a opportunity for you to secure your April glow up kickoff. Okay. A glow up is a custom experience built for what you need when you need it. Okay. I do provide custom scopes for all of my glow up offers so that you can tell me, Ashley, this is my vision. I am problem aware. I know what my problem is. I don't have a solution. So you go solve it. Right. And then I can create systems that support you now and support the business that you're growing into. And I can do it all in 3 weeks. So today you can book your glow up. I am going to drop the link in the chat. But you can book your glow up with a $750 deposit. You pay that deposit now. You pick your April start date, and your remaining 2 payments are split into April or later dates, depending on when we kick off, right? So you have the confidence of knowing Ashley got it. Here's my $750. I'm on our calendar. You're onboarded immediately. And then the remaining payments aren't due until Q2 so that you don't have to worry about, everything else happening before this quarter is over. Okay. Again, this experience is custom to you. Every glow up is different, right? I've had clients where I've delivered, 30 to 40 plus deliverables, right? Everything that you get is what you need when you need it so that your systems are growing with you, with the business that you have now, and with support and sustainable growth for later. Okay. If you guys have questions, whether you're here live or you're watching the replay, please drop it in the chat. I will always make sure to answer. But I look forward to supporting you guys as you grow, as you scale your business. Scaling doesn't have to be a dirty word, right? More doesn't have to feel like punishment. But I'm so excited to continue to find ways to support you guys and serve you as you serve your clients. Okay. Until